I didn't buy the earplugs because they were expensive. I bought them because I was desperate. Because the noise upstairs had been destroying my sleep for weeks, chairs scraping like metal against bone, footsteps pounding at all hours, a child running like gravity didn't exist, and a woman who somehow worked out in high heels. And I tried everything: foam earplugs, silicone ones, professional ones, even ridiculous gold-plated earplugs that felt like jewelry shoved into my skull. But nothing worked, until I saw the message. Absolute silence. Guaranteed. Solves noise at the root. And 3 days after I put them in, the police knocked on my door and told me my upstairs neighbors were dead. I bought every kind of so-called noise-canceling earplug I could find. Cheap foam ones, silicone ones, studio-grade ones, even those ridiculous gold-plated ones that felt like jewelry shoved into my skull. And none of them worked because the problem was never my ears but the apartment above me, where chairs were dragged like metal claws scraping bone. The kid ran nonstop like gravity didn't apply to him. And the woman worked out in high heels as if every step was meant to drill directly into my brain. So I called the police 3 times, and every time they told me the same thing: apartment living, try to be understanding. Until one night I got a message online saying, absolute silence, guaranteed, solves noise at the root. Which sounded ridiculous because nothing ever solves noise at the root. But I asked the price anyway, and the seller said $1,000. A number that made my stomach drop because I just graduated, just started working, and had already dumped nearly $5,000 into this apartment in deposits and fees, leaving me with barely $2,000 left. But that night the noise upstairs exploded again. Chairs slamming, footsteps pounding, my chest tightening, my ears ringing, my vision blurring, and then the seller sent another message saying not satisfied. Full refund. So I did the math the way desperate people do, told myself I'd already lost so much that one more $1,000 didn't matter. And I bought them, and when the earplugs arrived the next day I put them in before I even got home, and at first I could still faintly hear something upstairs and thought I'd been scammed again. But the moment I almost took them out, the world went completely silent. Not quieter but gone, so quiet that I pressed my ear to the wall and heard nothing. Stood in my bedroom holding my breath and heard nothing. Curled up on the couch and fell asleep instantly, dreaming the earplugs turned into a soldier who marched upstairs and silenced everything. And when my body woke at 4 a.m. out of habit, I realized I couldn't hear the grandmother chopping food like she always did. So I went back to sleep and slept until morning. Real sleep, deep sleep, the kind you don't remember ending. And for the first time in weeks I woke up calm and even hummed on the way to work, and that night I slept in my bedroom, waking at 1:30 only because my body expected noise. But inside my ears there was only silence, so I rolled over and slept until morning. And Saturday came and I spent the whole day reading without taking the earplugs out. The silence feeling like medicine. Until my TV restarted for an update and I suddenly realized I was still wearing them and wondered what would happen if I took them out. And as if summoned, the kid upstairs started running again. Even muffled, I felt the rhythm of it like my heart sinking to panic, so that night I went to bed early and slept straight through. And on Sunday morning someone pounded on my door hard enough to shake it. And when I opened it, Officer Lee stood there and asked if I was Megan Jang and if I'd been wearing earplugs all night. And when I took them out, noise slammed into me, distant shouting, crying, sirens, and Officer Lee told me the upstairs family was dead, that there was blood everywhere. And I barely made it to the bathroom before vomiting because I'd complained about them, cursed them in my head, imagined them gone, but I never wanted them dead. And when Officer Lee entered my apartment with 2 other officers, he noticed how clean and soundproofed it was and asked if I'd heard anything last night, any struggle, any screams, and I told him no. I slept with the earplugs, and when he tried them himself, he frowned and said they barely blocked anything, and asked how I could have heard nothing. So I showed him my sleep data proving that before the earplugs I barely slept 3 hours a night, and after them I slept 10 hours straight. And then he told me the grandmother died early Friday morning, the parents early Saturday, and the child Saturday evening, which were exactly the hours I slept the deepest. And after the police left, my apartment felt wrong. Too still. And neighbors downstairs whispered that the upstairs family got butchered and that I was the girl who always complained. and I locked my door and searched for the seller only to find the account deleted. And that night I heard a heavy thud from above and another one and panicked and called Officer Lee, screaming that he said they were dead, so why was there still noise? And after a pause he told me there was no such report, no deaths, and that he hadn't been to my building in days, and the line went dead. And above me the noise surged louder than ever. Chairs scraping, heels clicking, a child crying, and something inside me snapped, so I went upstairs and knocked on their door, and the man opened it alive and unhurt, sneering at me, the woman stepping forward in high heels that sounded like gunshots. And I ran back to my apartment shaking, only to see my phone say it was Thursday even though it should have been Monday. And a new message appeared from the seller saying absolute silence. Root solution, and my bank app showed my paycheck dated Thursday like Monday had never existed. And the social media post I'd made complaining about chair dragging was still there, still getting replies. And I realized reality had rewound. And staring at the seller's words about solving things at the root, I whispered that if this was a hallucination, I'd rather live inside it. Typed "I'll buy." Stayed in a hotel that night. And the next day the earplugs arrived again. And when I put them in, the silence returned perfectly, and I slept and ate and lived until Sunday came. Again, an Officer Lee stood at my door asking if I'd been wearing them all night and telling me the upstairs family was dead. And this time I didn't hand them over because I finally understood that the earplugs didn't block sound but chose a world. One where I suffered and one where the noise stopped at the root, and the worst part was that I felt relieved. And as they led me away, my phone buzzed with a message from a stranger asking if they really worked and if they were truly silent. And I smiled and replied that they were guaranteed absolute silence, solving the problem at the root.